In the grand, echoing halls of his opulent mansion, SCU Manuel sat alone in his room, his frail silhouette framed against the soft glow of a chandelier. His wealth was legendary: sprawling estates, gleaming cars, vast lands, luxurious hotels, and a thriving empire built from decades of sweat and sacrifice. But now, at the twilight of his life, his body weakened by age, his heart carried a heavier burden. He gazed at a faded family portrait on his nightstand, his weathered fingers tracing the faces of his wife, Donna Lucia, and their four children, Raphael, Gabriel, Camila, and Sophia. A question gnawed at his soul, sharp and unrelenting. Who in this house truly loves me? Who will stand by me when I'm frail and helpless? The thought pierced him like a cold wind. His riches could not answer it. So, with a heavy heart and a resolute mind, he summoned his trusted confidants, Dr. Joao, his loyal lawyer, and DRA. Paula, his compassionate doctor, to his study. In a voice barely above a whisper, he revealed his plan. I want to pretend I'm dying. I need to see who in my family truly cares for me, who will hold my hand when I'm weak. His eyes, clouded with both determination and dread, met theirs. Doctor Joao, his brow furrowing with concern, nodded slowly. It's a bold move, SCU Manuel, but wise. Let me safeguard half your wealth in a secret account. If anyone is pretending, they won't get it all. His pragmatic tone masked the unease in his heart. DRA. Paula, her face etched with empathy, agreed. I'll tell your family you have cancer with only 6 months to live. I'll make it convincing. Her voice trembled slightly, knowing the pain this deception might unearth. And so, the plan was set in motion. The next morning, the mansion awoke to a chilling sound. SCU Manuel's labored coughs echoing from his grand bedroom. He lay in his bed, his once vibrant frame now deliberately frail, his face pale, his breath shallow. He refused food, his voice weak, his eyes distant. The household buzzed with panic. His wife, Donna Lucia, and their children, Raphael, the ambitious eldest, Gabriel, the restless second son, Camila, the sharp-witted daughter, and Sophia, the tender-hearted youngest, gathered around him, their faces a mix of shock and fear. Should we call the doctor? Camila's voice cracked, her hands trembling as she clutched her phone. DRA. Paula arrived swiftly, her expression grave as she examined SCU Manuel in front of the family. She turned to them, her eyes glistening with feigned sorrow. I'm so sorry, she said softly. Your father has cancer. He may have only 6 months left. The words landed like a thunderclap. Sophia let out a heart-wrenching sob, collapsing beside her father's bed. No, Pi, please don't leave me. Her tears soaked the sheets as she gripped his hand, her heart splintering. Raphael and Gabriel stood frozen, their faces pale, eyes wide with disbelief. Donna Lucia clutched her chest, sinking into a chair, her breath shallow. My love, she whispered, her voice breaking. In those first days, the family rallied around him. They brought steaming bowls of soup, sat by his bedside, and whispered words of love. Sophia, her eyes red from crying, never left his side, feeding him with a small spoon, singing soft lullabies, and wiping his brow with a warm cloth. But as days turned to weeks, the warmth of their care began to fade, like a fire left untended. Donna Lucia stopped visiting. I can't bear to see him suffer, she said, her voice hollow, avoiding his room as if it were a tomb. Camila grew distant, claiming she was too busy with her socialite life. Gabriel muttered excuses about business trips, his visits dwindling. Raphael, however, lingered, but not out of love. His eyes gleamed with ambition as he began to take over the family empire. One afternoon, Raphael entered SCU Manuel's room, clutching a stack of papers. "Pi, you should rest now. Let me handle the company." His tone was smooth, but his eyes betrayed a hunger for power. SCU Manuel, lying still, watched his son through half-closed eyes, his heart sinking as he noted every word, every glance. As weeks passed, the mansion transformed into a stage of greed and betrayal. Raphael, now acting as the company's head, strutted through the office like a king, throwing lavish parties and squandering funds on a flashy new car and extravagant vacations. Camila indulged in luxury, buying designer clothes and wigs, her laughter echoing through the halls as if her father's suffering were a distant memory. Gabriel, caught in his own web of recklessness, funneled money to a mysterious woman he met online, his heart swayed by fleeting promises. But Sophia remained steadfast. She spent her days and nights by her father's side, her gentle hands tending to his every need. She fed him, cleaned his room, and slept on the floor beside his bed, her soft sobs breaking the silence of the night. "I'll never leave you, Pi," she whispered, her voice thick with love and grief as she held his hand. One evening, desperate for hope, she pleaded with her mother, "May, let's take him abroad. There might be a cure." But Dona Lucia dismissed her with a cold wave. "It's too expensive, Sophia. What if he dies there? We'd waste the money." Sophia's heart shattered as she returned to her father's side, her tears falling silently as she wiped his brow. Meanwhile, downstairs, Raphael hosted another raucous party, his voice booming. "Soon, this will all be mine." Unbeknownst to him, SCU Manuel heard every word, his heart aching with each betrayal. Yet he continued his charade, his coughs masking his silent grief. In the quiet of his room, SCU Manuel's thoughts grew heavy. Is this how my life ends? He wondered, his voice barely a whisper. This family, for whom I sacrificed everything. They don't even ask how I'm feeling. A single tear rolled down his cheek as he murmured, "Oh, God, where did I go wrong?" His coughs, though feigned, carried the weight of his heartbreak. Downstairs, the mansion pulsed with chaos. Raphael, drunk on power, stormed into the company's boardroom, declaring himself the new leader. "My father is dying," he announced, his voice cold. "I'm in charge now." When SCU Osvaldo, a loyal employee of 28 years, dared to question him, "Shouldn't we wait for your father's word?" Raphael's temper flared. "You're telling me what to do in my company," he roared, slamming his fist on the table. Within minutes, he fired Osvaldo and other veteran staff, replacing them with his unqualified friends. Gabriel, hearing of the firings, confronted Raphael in a heated clash. "You're destroying everything Pi built," he shouted, his voice trembling with rage. The brothers' argument escalated into a physical fight, fists flying as security pulled them apart. Sophia, witnessing the chaos, pleaded through tears, "Why are you fighting over money when Pi needs our love?" Her words hung in the air, unanswered, as her siblings turned away in shame. The betrayals deepened. Dona Lucia and Camila schemed to sell SCU Manuel's prized land. "Wait until he dies," Dona Lucia said coldly, her words slicing through the air. Gabriel, meanwhile, sold one of his father's cherished hotels and a valuable plot of land, unaware that Dr. Joao, ever loyal, had secretly arranged for trusted allies to buy them back, safeguarding SCU Manuel's legacy. One night, Sophia overheard her mother's cruel words. "This room smells of death." Dona Lucia ordered SCU Manuel moved to the guest quarters, dismissing Sophia's protests. "I'm still his wife. Idechide. As guards gently lifted him, SCU Manuel's eyes glistened with unshed tears, his heart breaking under the weight of his wife's indifference. The company, once a beacon of success, began to crumble under Raphael's reckless leadership. His lavish fashion line flopped, draining the accounts. Desperate, he proposed selling the Sol Nascent Grandioso, the crown jewel of his father's hotels. The family erupted in chaos, with Camila and Gabriel accusing each other of theft and greed. Sophia, her voice hoarse from crying, begged them to stop. "Why are you treating Pi like he's already gone?" Her words, raw with pain, silenced the room, but the damage was done. Sophia, overwhelmed by her family's callousness, made a decision. She couldn't let her father waste away in a house filled with betrayal. With the help of the mansion's driver, she took SCU Manuel to his childhood village, a place of dusty roads and war memories. As they arrived, the villagers swarmed with love, their arms laden with fruits, herbs, and prayers. "The chief is back," they cried, their voices thick with emotion. An elder woman clutched Sophia's hand. "We'll save him. He's one of us." In the village, a healer visited SCU Manuel, his wise eyes seeing through the old man's facade. Alone in the room, SCU Manuel confessed, "I'm not sick. It was a test to see who truly loves me." The healer's face softened with admiration. "You're a wise man, SCU Manuel. You've used death as a mirror to reveal their hearts." SCU Manuel's voice broke as he whispered, "But what I saw broke mine." The healer placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're not alone. Sophia is your light." Outside, Sophia paced, her heart pounding with hope and fear, unaware of her father's secret. Back in the city, the mansion descended into chaos. Raphael's mismanagement pushed the company to the brink of collapse. He and Gabriel clashed again, their shouts echoing through the halls. Donna Lucia, seeking escape from her loneliness, began an affair with Marcos, a charming young trainer. When Sophia caught them together, her heart shattered. "How could you betray Pi?" she cried, her voice raw with pain. Donna Lucia's feeble excuses only deepened Sophia's anguish. As the family unraveled, SCU Manuel, now rested and resolute, returned to the mansion. The sight of him, strong, upright, and alive, stunned his family into silence. Camila dropped her phone, Gabriel froze mid-step, and Raphael's wine bottle shattered on the floor. Donna Lucia clutched the wall, her face pale with shock. "You're well?" she stammered, her voice trembling with guilt. Sophia stood proudly by her father's side, her eyes shining with love. "Welcome back, Pi," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. That night, SCU Manuel gathered his family in the grand living room, his presence commanding and resolute. With Dr. Joao at his side, he revealed the truth. "I was never sick. It was a test to see who loved me, not my wealth." The room fell silent, their faces pale with shame. He turned to Raphael, his voice heavy with disappointment. "You destroyed my company, fired loyal workers, and sold my home. You've lost your inheritance." Raphael's knees buckled, tears streaming down his face. "O Gabriel, you sold my hotel and land, thinking only of yourself. Take the money you gained and leave my company." Gabriel sobbed, his head bowed. "O Camila, you scheme for my wealth. Prove yourself with actions, not words, if you want my forgiveness." Camila collapsed, her cries echoing through the room. "O Donna Lucia," his voice was icy. "You betrayed me with another man in my own home. You have 24 hours to leave." She fell to the floor, begging, but his resolve was unshaken. Finally, he turned to Sophia, his eyes softening with love. You, my daughter, never left my side. You are my true heir. He named her the sole inheritor of his empire and the new CEO, his voice swelling with pride a year later. Under Sophia's wise leadership, the company soared to new heights. Loyal employees returned, their faces alight with gratitude. SEU Manuel watched his daughter shine, his heart finally at peace. Raphael and Gabriel struggled to rebuild their lives, while Camila worked to earn her father's trust. Dona Lucia vanished, her fate unknown. Sophia, now a beacon of strength and love, stood tall, her father's legacy secure in her hands. In the quiet moments, SU Manuel would sit under the stars, a small smile on his lips, knowing that love, true, selfless love, had triumphed in the end.